Nailed it. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. It is wintertime, friends, and you know what that means. At least in the Northern Hemisphere, it is chilling down outside. At least here it is. Maybe if you're down in Miami, it's not doing it quite so much. But with that in mind, I figured let's go ahead and go over 10 of the best wintertime cologne fragrances that you can get, some of my favorites. These are gonna be way cheaper than the fragrances that they are inspired by, and when you take that cost difference into consideration, you could say they're even better. All of these are gonna be linked in the description, so feel free to check them out down there. Let's jump straight into it in no particular order. We're gonna start with a designer clone fragrance. Most of the ones I'm gonna share with you are clones of niche fragrances, but we got a couple designers in there for good measure. And this is one of them. From Fragrance World, it is Invicto Elixir. Or I guess technically it's Invicto V Elixir. And you don't have to use your imagination too much to figure out what this one is inspired by. They didn't quite get the whole bottle shape down there, but they do have a really similar name and the same gradient. It's a clone of Invictus Victory Elixir, which is one of my favorite designer fragrances on the market right now in general, and this one is absurdly close. It's an excellent release, perfect for fall and especially wintertime. Really sweet, has a lot of vanilla in there. Yeah, it smells fantastic right off the top. As soon as you spray this stuff on, it is killer. Great performance, projects heavily, gets you noticed in the air. It smells just about the same as Invictus Victory Elixir. Nobody's gonna be able to tell the difference. So that means you can do everyone's favorite thing when you're wearing a cologne fragrance and somebody says, what is that? What do you have on? You tell them not the name of the clone. You tell them the name of the fragrance that it's a clone of. Struggled getting that out. I think it's because I blasted my elbow. My brain is here. Up here, nothing. It's empty, baby. But yeah, that's the move, right? You tell them, oh, I'm wearing a fragrance that costs $300. Pinky's out. You don't want to hit them with that actuality, you know, that reality. You don't want to be like, well, you know, I'm wearing a fragrance that's like 25 bucks. It's by a Middle Eastern brand, and it's emulating this other thing. Don't do that, why? So yeah, Invictus Victory Elixir, that's what this is. I love Invictus Victory Elixir. I love Invicto V Elixir. These friggin' names, man, they absolutely kill me. I can't tell you guys how many times with these clone fragrance names, there's been a new one come out, and I see the name, and it's just a straight up bastardization of the name of the real deal, and I just, it's so funny, and at the same time, I'm like, that's the best you got. All right, no judgment. I love it though. Before we hop to the next fragrance, here's some codes you can use to save money. And a lot of these fragrances that I'm sharing with you here today, you can find on these websites. So for example, Beauty House with the code GENTS, the Perfume Box, Fragflex, JOMASHOP. You can find most everything that I talked to you about here on one of those websites. And you can use those codes to save yourself some money if you do ever pick them up, or anything else at those websites. All right, let's go next. Let's go next with this one. So this is from Risala, which is actually Sterling Parfums. And if you don't know Sterling Parfum, that is Armaf. So it's another one of their offshoots, you know, one of their sub-brands, just like Maison Alhambra with Lattafa, French Avenue with Fragrance World. You know how it is. So if you've never heard Risala, I know you've heard Armaf. And this one is called Angels of Heaven. Would you know my name if you were an angel in heaven? That doesn't work. Yeah, so Angels of Heaven, whatever could this one be, right? It's got that kind of cognac looking coloration to it. Well, this is another entry into the Angel Share Clone Sweepstakes, because everybody gotta have that Angel Share clone, and some brands have to have multiple. So this one is obviously late to the party. There are lots of Angel Share alternatives out there, Angel Share twists, whatever you want to call them. There's a bunch. And this one kind of missed the boat as far as being one of the first ones out in a big way. But it smells really good. Like really, really good. It's got a great sparkly sweetness to it off the top immediately grabs attention. Extremely appealing. This stuff is just magnetic, like you would expect from a really well done angel share alternative. You could also say it's a little bit similar to like Isa Sabah, which is similar to angel share, so that gets kind of redundant when you say that, but still. So yeah, very, very sweet. This is a little bit more on the sweet side when you compare it directly to angel share. Angel share has a little more of that like woodiness to it, but I don't need to tell you guys, sweetness is in right now. Sweetness is hot. Everybody's looking for sweetness. It's like Zoolander, right? There it is. Sweetness is hot right now. It's what's happening. And so that's why this has that little bit of a twist, you know, angel share with a sweeter twist. Great performance, projects heavily, lasts a long time. Very, very, very well done. The cap is actually extremely lightweight, so you could maybe dock it a point for that if you wanted to be like, oh, you know, it doesn't feel quite as high-end. But that's really the only thing I could fault it for. Outside of that, this stuff is fire. Let's go next with this Maison Alhambra Woody Oud. Yes, this is absolutely one of those times like I was talking about with the Invicto over here, where the name is just very on the nose. Woody Oud, what could that be? Well, in case you're unaware, let me fill you in. This is a clone of Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Never would have guessed. You're telling me a fragrance named Woody Oud in this presentation is a clone of Oud Wood by Tom Ford? What? What are you gonna tell me next? Pigs can fly? Yeah, ridiculous. It's absurd. Just realized I could have said something way funnier than that because pigs can fly is like, it's pretty played out. Oh well, too late now. Excellent, excellent alternative to Oud Wood. This stuff, for the price point, especially considering what Tom Ford private blend fragrances go for, it's a steal. This is a steal. The private blend pricing, that's not a steal. Actually, it is a steal. They're stealing your freaking money and putting it in their bank account. Yeah, let's go. Now, to be fair, you gotta give Tom Ford credit. They don't put out low quality crap. They put out stuff that can be very interesting, very unique, and they are the ones developing it. They are the ones coming out with these newer DNAs a lot of times, and that's not free. So I apologize, Tom Ford. I take back what I just said. I'm not even sure who I was winking to. Like, am I winking to the Tom Ford? I don't know. So yeah, Woody Oud, absolutely killer Oud Wood fragrance. Very classy, sexy, sophisticated, elegant. It's a great introduction to Oud fragrances for somebody who's maybe never smelled them before, because it gives you that wearability, but at the same time, it pushes the envelope a little bit more than your more typical designer woody fragrance. And this stuff is absolutely killer. They do have, at least as I've seen online, different presentations of this, like they had to switch it up a little bit. So depending on where you're shopping, it may look just like this bottle, it may look slightly different. Let's go next with this one. It's from CARLISLE. It's called Secret Musk. Now this is one where the name actually is not gonna key you in at all to what it's a clone of, and neither will the presentation. This is one of those ones, if you saw it on a counter, you didn't know about the fragrance, you would have no clue what this is. This is a clone of Arabian's Tonka from Montal. And that's one of the bigger fragrance releases from Montal. A lot of Montal fragrances, they can be a little hard to wear. Oud is heavily used in Montal scents, and a lot of times that comes across kind of screechy. It's very unappealing to a large number of people. Now, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of guys and gals out there who love themselves some Oudi Montal fragrances. Otherwise, they wouldn't have as many as they do. But it also could be very divisive. Arabian's Tonka, much easier to wear. And there is Oud in Arabian's Tonka, but it's the much more palatable, very sweet style of Oud mixed with rose in there. Oud and rose go together very easily. And then also you gotta have saffron that completes the Oud, rose, saffron trifecta. Those three notes used together all the time. And it's done in a, as I said, very appealing way, quite sweet, warm, and cozy, but with good performance. And this is an excellent alternative to that one. So if you're looking for Arabian's Tonka on a shoestring budget, check this. Figure I have to work in a Layton clone. Just kind of have to. You know, when you're talking fall and wintertime niche fragrances, Layton is one of, if not the most popular men's niche fragrances on the market. And there are a lot of different Layton clones out there. This is one of the better ones. It's Detour Noir EXCLUSIF. This is from ALTHAIR. It's supposed to be a clone of Layton EXCLUSIF, which Layton EXCLUSIF basically is Layton, but given a darker touch. It's more animalic, it's bolder, it's a bit heavier. It does lean more niche for whatever that's worth. This is supposed to be a clone of that, but in actuality, to me, it kind of falls in between Layton and Layton EXCLUSIF. Yeah, it has maybe a little more of an animalic touch to it than straight up Layton does, but it's not as dark. It's not got that little bit of funk around the edges the same way Layton EXCLUSIF does. So it's actually kind of in between. The quality is lights out, smells absolutely killer, gives you a great pressurized atomizer, and it's just one of the better Layton alternatives out there, period. I know Detour Noir, which is closer to actual Layton, is extremely popular, and that one's good as well. But all things being equal between Detour Noir and EXCLUSIF, I think I'd pick this one up myself. Let's talk Lattafa once again with Ensemble Silver. And maybe I butchered that pronunciation. If so, I'm sorry. This is one of those Lattafa fragrances that almost starts to run together a little bit in my mind. You know, they have so many different releases that are basically, here's a black bottle and we just put like a little metallic design on the front. They have a lot of fragrances like that. So sometimes they can, like I said, kind of run together a little bit. This one though, extremely good. And it's a clone of the Most Wanted from Azure Oud, specifically the Most Wanted Eau de Parfum Intense, which is just the original, the Most Wanted. So you have vanilla, you have amber, cardamom, a little bit of bergamot in here as well. A couple things about this fragrance. First off, smells better off skin than off a tester strip. So do be aware of that. Obviously that's not a huge deal, but if you buy this and you get it in and you just immediately spray it on a strip and then you go, oh, that's not that close to the Most Wanted, it smells better and closer when you actually wear it versus this. Actually off a tester strip, it has almost like a shampoo kind of smell to it. It's kind of weird. Yeah, not a big fan of that. And you get a little more vanilla coming out here that is, you know, touch creamy, maybe a hint powdery, but it has great performance. It's another one that projects heavily, easily gets you noticed in the air. Smells amazing, a big compliment puller. And the Most Wanted, while it's not super expensive at full retail compared to a lot of other designer fragrances out there, it is very popular, which means that at discounters, a lot of times it does sell out. And this one is gonna be a much easier pickup. That's much easier on the wallet. Let's go up next with this one, our Moth Hunter Killer. What a name. And they put the little like bullet on the side there and make it look like Rambo style or something. Yeah, Hunter Killer, rad. I don't know. Actually, if they leaned into that and went like full on 80s like synthwave neon kind of styling, even more so than it already is, that'd be pretty sick. But Hunter Killer, this is such a weird name. What fragrance you wearing? Hunter Killer. Yeah, dog. I'm alpha. My fragrance is intense. It doesn't only hunt, dude. It kills, okay? The ladies. It's a lady killer, but not like in not a literal sense. I'm actually a very gentle guy, you know. I like puppies. I like hiking, I like to fish, and I throw them back. I just do it for the joy, you know. Also enjoy cooking a fine risotto. I like a nice Moscato. So yeah, Hunter Killer. This one is similar to Red Tobacco from Mancera, but it's a little twist. It's not a one-to-one with Red Tobacco, not the exact same. Actually opens up, for most people, more appealing than Red Tobacco because it's a little bit fresher off the top. When you very first spray this one on, it leads you into the mid and dry down, holding your hand a little bit more than Red Tobacco does. So Red Tobacco, in case you've never smelled that one, opens up aggressively, okay? Red Tobacco has got a lot going on when you first spray that fragrance on. It has a bunch of spices, there's oud in there, there's tobacco, of course. It's just an assault on your senses, okay? And if it's an assault on your senses, it's an assault on other people's as well. Now, I'm a glutton for punishment, so I have come around to actually enjoy the opening of red tobacco, but I understand why a lot of people don't really dig that one. Now, here's the deal. With red tobacco, as it dries down, it is amazing, okay? It is a stone cold killer as far as grabbing attention, and it just smells great. Very warm, sweet, sexy, but with very, very good performance. So this one, as I said, a bit of a twist. You have that red tobacco DNA, but the opening fresher and easier going. Performance-wise, this is also extremely strong. Up next, we have Azure Oud from French Avenue. And this one is a clone of Maison Crivelli Oud Maracuja. Now, in case you have never smelled that fragrance, it's interesting. It's got a good amount of sweetness from fruit off the top. A lot more than you might expect, actually. There's passion fruit in there, which is gonna be one of the most detectable notes when you first spray it on. There's also rose in there, very fresh, very bright and sweet with a tropical edge to it. But then lurking underneath that is a fairly strong oud note along with leather as well. So it's like this mix of two different styles of fragrance kind of slammed together. Very sweet, tropical, fresh, kind of like Herba Pura almost from Xerjoff / Suspiro. A little bit of that in the opening, but then like an ombre nomad kind of oud rose as it dries down. So a bit of that and a bit of this just kind of slapped together. That's what it is. And this is an alternative to that fragrance. And expertly done. This is really, really good. Came out the same time as Liquid Brune, which is an ALTHAIR clone. And it makes sense why that one is more popular, because ALTHAIR is more popular than Oud Maracuja, I mean. But I would say that this one is equally as well done as Liquid Brune. So if you want an alternative to that Maison Crivelli, check this one out. If you want an alternative to Oud for greatness, you can check this one out. So this is Oud Odyssey Oud. Yeah, we've got two oud fragrances in a row here. As I said, it is an Oud for greatness alternative. The most well-known Oud for greatness alternative is gonna be Oud for Glory, which is a Lattafa release. But this one is Armaf's. It's another one that is crazy strong. So yes, it's gonna last forever. We know the drill by this point. And this one is dirt cheap. At JOMASHOP, it's like 22 bucks for a 100 ml full presentation. And this Odyssey line has just gotten more and more popular. Armaf kind of hit on something with it. Mandarin Sky, which is a clone of Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal, that one's very popular. You have Odyssey Mega, which is Y Eau de Parfum. You have Odyssey Aqua, which is Invictus Platinum. So this line has kind of been taking off. They've been releasing more and more and more in the Odyssey line. And it has a lot of bangers for the price point, because again, these Odyssey scents are cheap and the quality and performance of them is way higher than you would expect. This one, an amazing, well-balanced, inexpensive Oud for greatness alternative that has a nice masculine lean to it. Now, before we head to the official last one, I got a bonus one, so there's technically 11 in here. It's from Montaigne, and it's Enigmatic Exclusif. So this one is a Raja Parfum Creation E or Enigma, depends on where you live, Parfum clone. And it is pretty freaking strong, like everything else here. Oof. Yeah, I just sprayed those two sprays. This packs a punch, boys. Now, when you first spray this on, it's got a root beer kind of vibe to it, which is also how Creation E comes across, so nailed it. A lot of cognac in here. That booziness, it permeates through the fragrance in the opening, the mid, the dry down. As it says on the front here, they've got 3 notes listed. Cognac is one of them. Then there's also benzoin and vanilla. So, I mean, it lets you know what's up. This is a bit of a sweeter take on that Creation E. It still has that spiciness, that fizziness, just maybe not quite as much. But it's extremely well done if you want a very strong alternative to that fragrance. Do be aware that this one is like 60 bucks full retail for a 50 ml. That's gonna be more expensive than everything else that we're talking about here today. But Montaigne does have sales from time to time. So just be aware of it if you want a clone of that fragrance. It's not like an official one in this list because it's a little pricier, but it's really well done if you want, like I said, some beast mode stuff going on. Last up, Vintage Radio from Lattafa. Now this is a clone of Paragon from Initio Parfum. Is it strong? You already know the answer. Is it sweet? Yeah, that's pretty sweet. It smells good though. Woo! It smells dang good. It's almost edible. That plum in there is like, feel it down in my plums. Now I'll tell you, I've got a couple other clones of Paragon that are also really, really good. Super appealing. But I keep coming back to this one because I even have them in my collection in the other room. It's right next to each other. It's like pop, 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 all right there. And each time that I'm thinking about either wearing, smelling, featuring a Paragon clone, I end up reaching for this one. So yeah, a lot of plum in there, lavender, Palo Santo, very sweet off the top, but extremely approachable, candy-like, but in a higher end way. It doesn't, you know, bash you over the head with bubble gum, but it does have kind of a syrupy edge to it. Nice creamy woodiness as the fragrance dries down. It's one that I think ladies can pull off just as easily as men, but if you want Paragon on the cheap, that's the first place I'd stop. So there we go, guys. Some cheap clone fragrances during the winter time. These are amazing. And when you consider, you know, the price point of the fragrance that they are similar to versus the price point of these, they are amazing deals. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Stay safe out there. Let me know in the comments. It doesn't have to be a clone. Just let me know what you're looking forward to this winter. If you want to keep it on topic, you could make it like a clone, but it doesn't have to be. Thank you guys. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.